everyone, this is Connie, and welcome to Witches in the Moon. This week we are talking about Samhain, lore, history, and activities. First off, I just want to apologize for not being on video tonight. I have been suffering with a really bad migraine lately. I'm going on 3 days now, 4 days, I don't remember. Um, so I'm not looking up to par to be on video. Um, So, first off, since so many of us have been talking a lot about the history and the lore of Samhain, I decided I would just give a really quick brief, history. And mostly I figured I would just share what I do on Samhain and some of the activities that you can do on Samhain Eve if you would like. Samhain is a Celtic tradition. Um, it's not even really based off the traditional Halloween. Samhain is the third and the last of the harvests for the year. They would celebrate the abundance and celebrate, all their crops that they have harvested through the year. Um, they would also, um, you know, pretty much what we still do is honor the dead and their ancestors and so on and so forth. To the Celtics, death wasn't the end. It was actually a whole new beginning of life. So it was a huge celebration to them. It is also the Celtic New Year, also known as the Witches' New Year. It's the darkest time of the year, or starting of the darkest time of the year, and it is also the veil through, our, you know, a reality in our life to the spirit realm, is the thinnest. So, um, just by saying that, I figured I will just go right into what I do and my household does during Samhain. Um, Besides the taking the kids trick or treating and having our horror marathon and eating our candy and popcorn, my kids are a lot older now, so I don't really do that much. But by the time we get back and they go to sleep and stuff, I will do a lot of divination. There's so many different types of divination. I am a huge fan of divination. From tarot, oracle, runes, pendulum, spirit boards. I mean, I use wax skyring. I don't know why I can never say that right the first time, but I do a lot of that. There is so many divination. I do. We usually have a fire pit going or a bonfire going, and so I will also do divination with the flames. Um, there, in the old Victorian days, on Halloween, there was a lot to do with apples. A lot of divination with apples. You can. It's said that if you can peel an apple all at once without, breaking the peel or anything, that, your true love will come to you. You can also put that peel in a bucket of water, and it's supposed to reveal the initials of the person, the man that you're going to marry or the woman. Um, there was so many different divinations they did back in the Victorian times, and a lot of it had to do with apples. Um, the the cool one I thought back in Victorian days, the whole bobbing for apples came along, was traditionally what they would do is the single, girls would carve different initials into the into a bucket with water and apples, And the single men that were there, it would be one of, all of their initials would be on, an apple. And the women would bob the apples, and whichever apple they got with the initial would be the one that they would marry. Um, of course, we don't do that nowadays. We still bob for apples once in a while for fun, but that was a fun divination. I like that one. um, but yeah, there is so many different types of divination out there, and um, either if it's for fun or if it's to, see how your new year is coming because it is the witch's new year. It could be, talking to your ancestors with the spirit boards or pendulums. It's the best time to do it right now because, again, the veil is very thin. Um, we also, with the bonfires, if you can see there on my little Samhain altar, I have a corn doll husk, and I make that on Mabon, and on Samhain night, evening, I will throw it into the bonfire as to give thanks for the abundance and, blessings that I have received through the year. Also, if you hear snoring in the background, I apologize. My dog is passed out. Um, but so yeah, that is, something else that we do. We also, me and my children, we will write letters and messages to our, our past loved ones that have passed on, and to give messages to them. So we do that, and we write our little notes to our loved ones, and we will, throw them in the fire. Um, we sometimes, not always, will make a little stick wicker man, and we will also burn that as in to give thanks. Um, let's see. Excuse me. I think that's pretty much it for the bonfire that we do. Um, so, in the Witch's New Year is a time that I will do some spell work, and it is to pretty much bring, blessings and good health and, you know, good prosperity and all that for the coming new year. So I do a lot of that. We also do pumpkin spells, and what I do with the pumpkin spells is we will, carve a pumpkin like you normally would. But during the whole time that we're doing it, we are, putting our intent into it and our blessings and giving our thanks for the year. And then once we are done and we take it outside and we light the candle, that's pretty much releasing our honor to deity and to our ancestors, and giving thanks for everything that was blessed in our life for the year. We will also light little either turnips or little tiny pumpkins with tea lights. We will set those out on the walkway and light them so that our past loved ones and ancestors can find their way to our house through the dark. And then we will have what we call a dumb supper. And for those of you that do not know what the dumb supper is, which a lot of us have, talked about the subject this week, but it is when we fix a feast and a dinner of a bunch of foods that our past loved ones enjoyed when they were alive. And then we will set plates out, with their food and their wine or their beer or their scotch or, whatever they enjoyed. And we would all sit down and have dinner together. And we will, reminisce and talk about, all the wonderful memories we had of them. And we would talk to them as if they were right there, in person with us. So we do that. Let's see. There's so many things that we do. Trying to remember everything. um, I do a lot of shadow work during this time of year as well. Um, because, with the Witch's New Year coming up, I like to do a lot of deep shadow work and try to remove and let go of anything that I do not want to bring with me into the new year. So if I've had, a lot of misfortune through the year, I will try to let go of that and try to, um, figure out solutions not to go back into that situation again. If I was hurt or if somebody had done me wrong, now would be the time that I will, forgive and let go. Um, if I'm carrying a lot of negativity or any of that, at that time, I will work deep to the core and try to figure out what I can to resolve anything that is maybe not been resolved yet. So that way, when I, you know, again, go to the new year, I'm starting fresh and positive and good, energies. And so I do a lot of shadow work too. Um, the other thing that I like to do, sometimes it's not always possible, but I like to try is I have two cemeteries near me. They're pretty small, but I like to bring offerings to every, all the graves, tombs, and everybody who has passed up there, even if it's just some bread, some cookies, um, fruit, herbs, stones, crystals, or I mean herbs, it doesn't matter what it is, offering stones that I make, flowers, any of that. And I try to leave offerings for everyone, even if I don't know them, just to, honor them and, let them know that they are, not forgotten. And so I try to do that. I can see that being really hard for some of the cemeteries because they are so, you know, uh, some of them are really, really big cemeteries. But, just if you feel like, you have time to do it, it is not only, you know, it really makes you feel good inside knowing that, you're letting these people know that they are not alone, that they're not forgotten, and that you do honor them even though they, have passed. And another reason I do that is because that's kind of like my sanctuary, is when I am upset or down, I will go to the graveyard and I can literally feel the weight lift up off my shoulders as soon as I walk into them. Also, since I do not have family buried anywhere around here, a lot of my family members have been cremated because being, half Cherokee Indian, that a lot of my family prefer to be cremated. So I don't really have, a graveyard that I can go to for like graveyard dirt and stuff. So by doing this, I'm, giving them thanks, and in return, they have no issue with me taking some graveyard dirt, and I don't take it from the grave site itself. I usually take it when I first walk into the gate into the cemetery. And for the reason why I do that is because the gates are there to protect. The gates are there to protect, from people going in and destroying, graveyards at late at night. And, in some cultures way back, and still some cultures today, they believe that the gates help keep the dead, the spirits from just roaming into town and villages and whatnot. So it's kind of a protective, soil that you can get when you first go into the gate. And that's what I use my graveyard dirt for, is for protection. So it kind of works out perfect. So in doing this, I also am giving thanks, for the protection that, that they give. Um, Yeah, and there's ancestor altars that you can set up for your loved ones. You can give them fresh, offerings. Like with my grandma, for instance, she loved black velvet whiskey. I can't stand it, but that was her absolute favorite whiskey. So I will be getting, a fresh bottle of that. She loved to play guitar. So I will be getting, a fresh guitar pick and, some of her favorite desserts and stuff that she liked, cakes and muffins and whatnot. And I'm going to be getting her powder, her body powder that she used to love from Avon. And so, that's a time to kind of just get fresh offerings, for your loved ones. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think I've talked you guys' ears off enough, but I figured maybe some of these, things will give you guys all some really good ideas on what you can do during Samhain if aren't too sure and you are newer to the craft and you were wanting, to know what you can do on Samhain, and there you go. There's a bunch of fun stuff you can do. So, yeah, I hope you all have a very blessed night, and I will talk to you guys next time. And I hope you all have a wonderful Samhain.